From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Friday, June 30th. It is going to be a hot final day to June with some scattered storm chances as well. Our Storm Track 8 meteorologists are tracking another round of on and off rain and storm potential all throughout the day. There is another chance for severe weather with a slight risk, level 2 out of 5. It's in place for mainly the southern half of Indiana. Damaging winds and hail will be the primary threats. The best timing for the severe weather is going to be roughly mid to late afternoon. There could be some flooding issues as well with repeated rounds of rain. Highs are going to be in the upper 80s to low 90s. Humidity is going to be very high with dew points approaching the mid 70s at times. So that's going to create a heat index values in the mid to upper 90s. So it's very important that these cooling centers are going to be opening across the Indianapolis area and beyond because a lot of people are without power. At last check, around 8 this morning, there were nearly 140,000 outages, and it could take days to restore the power in the area. Let's now talk about the sold-out Savannah Bananas game that was supposed to be last night. It was scheduled to be at 7, but the storms cut the power to the entire stadium around 7:30. Some fans had been in line for the game for 3 hours before the postponement was announced. The game is rescheduled for Saturday. Gates open at 11. First pitch is at noon. And so as far as the crews out and about trying to clean up everything, DPW is going to be on it. Got to get the fallen limbs out of the roads, debris from the streets, and get stoplights working again. The storm knocked out power to at least 90 intersections, many of which have stayed dark into this morning. If you see problems like this, the city's asking you to call the Mayor's Action Center, 317-327-4622. Police also ask you to use care as you drive, especially at intersections where lights are out or blinking. And again, okay, let's talk the heat and the lack of power. There are cooling centers set to open at the family centers at many city parks today and tomorrow during normal hours. There are 2 exceptions. The city says the Christian Park Family Center will not open tomorrow, and the center at Rodias Park will be closed all weekend. In news away from the weather, 2 men now face charges, one for murder and the death of Trooper Aaron Smith. State police say they arrested 18-year-old Eddie Jones Jr. and 19-year-old Demarion Curry yesterday morning. Both are from southeastern Missouri. Police say Jones is the driver who led police on a chase in a stolen vehicle, then hit Smith as he tried to deploy stop sticks. Jones is preliminarily charged with murder. Curry faces an auto theft charge. As we reported all day yesterday, the crash happened Wednesday night on Ronald Reagan Parkway at I-70. Police say a 15-year-old girl was also in the suspect's vehicle and was listed as a missing person in Missouri. She's not facing charges. ISP says it will release information about Trooper Smith's funeral in the coming days. When we get that info, we'll surely pass it on to you. And friends of Trooper Smith are remembering the man behind the badge. They say he leaves a legacy of service behind. Smith graduated from Whiteland High School in 2008. He also played on the school's football team from 2005 to 2007. Coach Darren Fisher says Smith will be remembered as a team player.
He understood team. It was about everybody else. He worked hard every day. He had football character. He understood being sick versus illness. He understood injured versus hurt.
State police say an official memorial fund has been set up to support Smith's family. We've made it easy for you to donate. Just go to wishtv.com and find the As Seen on Wish TV section. You'll find the story there. Click on it, and inside you'll find a link to donate. Investigators say a man from Anderson tried to hide his car after hitting a 13-year-old boy, leaving him critically injured. The crash was in Wilkinson in Hancock County 2 weeks ago. Aaron McGee faces a felony charge for leaving the scene. Investigators say McGee tried to stash his damaged car in a garage, but they found it and him through tips and video from the public. The sheriff's department says the young victim has shown little improvement and is still in the hospital 2 weeks later. Police promised new information today about the arrest in the first deadly shooting in Fishers in nearly 3 years. Joshua Farmer is in custody, described at the moment as a person of interest. The shooting was Wednesday at the Speedway gas station on 116th, just west of Allisonville Road. Authorities haven't released the name of the woman who was killed. Investigators tell us they believe the shooter and the victim had been in a relationship. State police are looking for a suspect after a road rage shooting on I-65 seriously injured a person. It happened in the southbound lanes near Southport Road just after 7:30 last night. Police say they believe the suspect pulled up alongside the victim's vehicle and fired multiple shots. They say at least one bullet hit the victim. Police say the suspect drove off before officers arrived. State police say if you know anything about the crash or the suspect, you can contact ISP. That number is 317-899-8577. To iTeammate now, the team's digging into the details of the newly released documents in the Delphi double murder. They lay out the prosecution's case against Richard Allen. We're learning more about how the girls died and the decline in Allen's mental health. iTeammate's senior investigative reporter Richard Essex resumes his coverage of the story.
For the first time, we know where the audio and video released by Indiana State Police came from. Libby German's iPhone. She recorded her friend Abby Williams being followed by a man that investigators believe is Richard Allen. It is revealed in the search warrant signed by the first judge in this case that this video and audio released by Indiana State Police came from Libby German's iPhone. According to the warrant, there is 43 seconds of video showing Abby Williams being followed by a man investigators believe is Richard Allen. The video was taken at 2:13 p.m. on February 13th, 2017. 45 minutes after the two girls were dropped off at the Monon High Bridge by a relative. Allen told investigators that he was on the Monon High Bridge that same day at the same time. A witness told investigators Allen was seen walking back to his car on a county road. His clothes were muddy and bloody. Allen's defense attorneys argue that his mental and physical health have rapidly declined while in custody at Westville Correctional and that he should be moved to another facility. Richard M. Allen was wetting down paperwork he had gotten from his attorneys and eating it. He was refusing to eat, refusing to sleep. He would go days on end refusing to sleep. Allen has started eating and sleeping again, but the turning point came during a phone call to his wife on April 3rd, when he allegedly confessed to the murders of Abby and Libby several times. His wife abruptly ended that call. That was the last time he used his Department of Corrections provided electronic tablet to call or text anyone. He had been making at least 2 calls a day. Investigators have recorded and transcribed all of Allen's calls. On April 14th, Allen was examined by 2 psychiatrists and 1 psychologist to discuss his behavior. They determined he did not need involuntary medication and that he did not need to be moved to another facility. You can see all the recently released court documents on WishTV.com. In the studio, Richard Essex, Wish TV, iTeammate.
To the Colts, cornerback Isaiah Rodgers and defensive end Rashad Berry are off the team. The Colts announced yesterday it waived the players, the same day the NFL announced their suspension. The league says Rodgers, Berry, and 2 other players violated gambling policy by betting on 2 games last year. They're suspended for at least the 2023 season and can then petition for reinstatement. Colleges across the country will largely have to stop using race in the admissions process. That's the effect of a Supreme Court decision delivered yesterday, effectively ending affirmative action admissions policies. Leaders of historically black colleges and universities say HBCUs could see more students in the wake of the court's decision. Jerome Goodwin is the president of the National Association of College Deans, Registrars, and Admissions Officers, an organization of administrators for HBCUs. He says enrollment in HBCUs had already been trending up before yesterday's ruling. Critics of the new ruling include the Urban League, which called Thursday a historic day for all the wrong reasons. A former Florida sheriff's deputy has been acquitted of child neglect and failing to act during the 2018 Parkland school shooting. Former Broward County Deputy Scott Peterson is the first person in U.S. history to be tried for their conduct during an on-campus shooting. A jury unanimously acquitted him yesterday after deliberating for 19 hours over 4 days. He faced 11 charges for failing to adequately protect students during the worst school shooting in U.S. history. And today is the deadline for UPS to provide a last offer to union members to prevent strike action. We don't know if there's a specific time for that deadline, but we do know that more than 340,000 UPS workers could go on strike. It would be the largest single employer strike in U.S. history. The International Brotherhood of Teamsters deemed the delivery giant's most recent offer an appalling counter-proposal. UPS said that reaching a consensus requires give and take from both sides. The union said 97% of its members have authorized strike action. The president of France has cut short a visit with other European leaders to hold a second emergency meeting about the mass protests in his country. The daylight hours there are revealing the damage of a third night of violence, including rows and rows of charred buses. The police shooting of a 17-year-old in Paris is what sparked the demonstrations. Right now, police say they've arrested more than 660 people across the country, and some 200 officers have been injured. As far as the 17-year-old, he was a delivery driver. Prosecutors say officers tried to stop him because he looked young and was driving a Mercedes with a Polish license plate in a bus lane. They say he ran a red light and the officer fired because he feared the teenager would hit him. The officer faces a preliminary charge of voluntary homicide. A mural of a Black American poet, Etheridge Knight, is set to be unveiled today on Mass Ave in downtown Indianapolis. The mural is outside the Chatterbox Jazz Club. Knight was a regular at the club. He taught poetry workshops there from the 1980s. Knight became a poet while in prison in Michigan City in the 1960s. The unveiling takes place at 5:30 this evening. Fans of Kiss can see the band's famed first lead guitarist tonight in Kokomo. Ace Frehley will play at the Haynes-Apperson Music Festival. He starts at 8 tonight. Starship with Mickey Thomas closes out the festival Saturday. Both shows are free, but you can buy VIP tickets for $20 to get seats close to the stage. There will also be a parade in downtown Kokomo Saturday afternoon beginning at 2. And to business headlines. Travelers will likely encounter packed highways this 4th of July, but the good news is that gasoline prices are cheaper this year than last. The national average price of gas was $3.55 a gallon on Thursday, down from $4.87 a gallon a year ago. That's according to AAA. Eli Lilly and Company will buy the rest of Sigilon Therapeutics that it did not own to gain access to experimental cell therapies that can provide longer-term solutions for diabetes patients. The two companies have been partners since 2018, when Lilly paid Sigilon $63 million for a licensing deal to develop cell therapies targeting type 1 diabetes. Aspartame, one of the most common artificial sweeteners in the world, is set to be declared a possible carcinogen by the World Health Organization's Cancer Research Agency next month. It's according to a report. Aspartame is 200 times sweeter than table sugar and is found in several products, including Coca-Cola diet sodas, sugar-free Ricola cough drops, and certain sugar-free extra chewing gum products. It's also sold as a tabletop sweetener under the brand names Equal, NutraSweet, and Sugar Twin. There's a shortage of sriracha sauce, and it's going for as much as $120 for a pair of bottles online. There's been a shortage for the past 3 years, as the maker has said that its chili peppers have consistently been in short supply. Chatbots have infiltrated dating apps. Some of it's innocent, just people using AI to sound wittier, more confident, and attractive. But others say the AI-generated profiles may be looking to steal people's personal information. Dating apps say AI-generated profiles are against their policies. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and like us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.